Hi y'all, welcome back to another video. So we are going to jump right into it today, and I'm going to begin prepping the bottom half of the extension. So I didn't really feel like pulling out my e-file at this point, and I didn't want to kick up any dust, so I will be using the Crayer tip sand. What this does is chemically etch the bottom half of the extension by creating some texture. So I am taking a little bit of this, rubbing it in by doing up and down, side to side, and scrubbing like motions. Etching the bottom half of the extension helps the gel have something to grip onto so your extensions last longer. After doing some etching, I am going to place these extensions to the side because now it will be time to take care of our natural nails. But I already did my natural nail prep off camera. If you aren't sure how to do that, you can check out this video here. But now I'm going to go in with a peel off base coat. Peel off base coats are very easy for me to use because I do change my sets pretty much weekly, sometimes even twice a week, so I can get videos out for you all. But I realize that's not very common for a majority of you watching my videos. However, if you do want to use a peel off base coat, keep in mind that they last up to about 2 weeks in my experience, but results may vary. This basically eliminates the need for me to have to soak my nails off in acetone. Removal goes by quicker and is much easier. If you want your sets to last longer, you would use a normal base gel, but either way, you do need to do a full cure after applying whichever one you prefer. So let's go ahead and do that for 60 seconds. Now we're ready to apply our gel extensions. I will actually be using the Yoko Zombie base gel, which comes in a bundle with the peel off base gel I just showed you, as well as a top coat. I will link the individual bottles and the bundle in the description box down below. But I'm basically using this to attach the extensions to my natural nails. So I'm going to put a little bit of gel onto the bottom half of the extension, making sure to fully get to the left side, the right side. And then once I get to the middle, I do want to pull downwards so we're left with this tiny little bead of gel. It'll look something just like this. Right here, it may look like enough, but we're going to make sure, and I'm going to place this extension next to my natural nail to make sure there's enough gel here that would fully cover the length of my natural nail. Once I'm good to go, I am going to line the extension up with my cuticle area, leaving a very, very small space, and then I'm going to push down slowly and let the gel flow towards the tip of my natural nail and flash cure. I highly recommend getting either a touch activated lamp like the one I'm using or a motion censored lamp because it makes life so much easier. When I first started off, I was using a lamp that would sit on my desk and I would have to click the button when I was ready, and you run the risk of losing your placement, having to start over. This just eliminates the drama from here. As you are applying your gel extensions, if you realize you have gel seeping out the sides, the bottom, the top, make sure the moment you notice it, you immediately clean it up. If you constantly leave gel on your skin uncured, it can lead to you developing a lifelong allergy. So please be careful. Of course, the best thing to do is to not get it on the skin at all, but if it does happen, clean it right on up. So this whole time we have been flash curing, which basically freezes the gel in place. Once we get to the thumb, we need to do a full cure to get these extensions on correctly. So let's go ahead and do that and pop my hand into my bigger lamp for 60 seconds. After curing these, I like to take a no wipe top gel and place this on the underside of the extension, and I prefer to actually use something that's on the thinner side. The extension looks nice and glassy. You don't have to do this, it is completely optional, but we are still going to do a full cure. Before we jump into the nail art, I do need to get these extensions ready for polish. This time, I will be using a mini sanding band and my e-file. Now, if you're not in the mood for the e-file, that's totally fine. You can use a buffing block, or you can apply a base gel and cure it. Now I'm going to seal my cuticles. Today I'm using the Pana 5-in-1 bit. I'm gently going around from left to right, and this is just going to make sure everything is sitting nice and leveled. These tips are pre-shaped, and for the most part, the shape is there, but you want to make sure they fit customized to your natural nail. So round off the edges, go around the sides to make sure everything looks good. We're going to get that dust out of the way, and we are ready for some nail art. I am so excited to do this design because I had it in mind ever since I posted this video here where we did the green cat eye. I really wanted to use the red, and I was like, we're saving that for the holidays. Holiday season is here, and here we are. So since we will be doing a French tip, you all know that I love to hide my natural nail under my extensions because I keep them at their natural length. Like whatever they want to do, I leave them be. I don't really trim them down often, but they can sometimes show under my extensions. Taking this Pat Pat gel and a mushroom sponge, and I'm just adding some pigment right where my natural nail is popping through here. Once some of the pigment is off of the sponge, I am going to start blending towards my cuticle area and then going back and working my way towards the tip. So this isn't 100% perfect at hiding the natural nail under the extension, but it does do a really good job so that when I go in with my base color, they don't pop through too much. I understand if you don't have long natural nails underneath your extensions and you feel like, girl, I ain't doing that, you don't have to, but I do think it helps for sure. When you're working with these products, you can layer them, at least this particular brand anyway, and you don't have to flash cure in between each one. And I did about, I would say 2 coats. This is a gel product, so let's go ahead and do a full cure before going in with my base color. So I have never used this one. This is D&D's Dirty Dancer, and this is from their sheer collection. I've had it unwrapped in my stash for a while, but for this I am going to be applying 2 coats. I think it layers very well, and I do think it applies quite evenly and self-levels great, but this color has like a slight peachy undertone. I did get these from a local nail supply, but I'm pretty sure you can find them on the D&D website, Beyond Polish, and even Amazon. I will link all 3 of them in the description box and you figure out which one works best for you, okay? Once I do my second coat, I am going to go ahead and do a full cure. So here's the thing, I wanted to eat some dinner, so I decided that I'm going to stop right here, and I applied a matte top gel because I wasn't sure if I wanted to do isolated chrome or not. You absolutely do not need to do this, but I didn't want to have matte nails in the next clips and it be very confusing as to why they're not shiny and now they're matte. But basically your girl just wanted to take a break, and I figured a top gel would be the perfect thing to apply so I can do that without messing up my nails. Now I am taking a polish from the Rosy Hip Red Fever collection. If you have never seen this, basically it is shades of red, a little bit of purple too, but they're syrup gels. So the first layer seems a little sheer, and then you can build them up to get more coverage if you would like. So I'm actually going to use this for the base of my French tip because the vibe I was going for was like a magnetic-y cat eye that was slightly jelly toned, but not really. I didn't want it to be completely transparent, but I didn't want it to be a solid color. So I felt like this was perfect for that. I'm using my thin liner brush here, and I'm just creating my rough sketch of my French tip on all of my nails except for the ring finger, because we're going to do a little 3D design there. But what I like to do is go from side to side, get my outline down, and then I will fill in the empty space with my brush. But when I got to the thumb, I was like, I am not using this tiny brush to fill in all that space on my wide thumb. So I decided to switch over to the brush from the polish bottle to get things done quicker. But I did grab my thin liner brush to get to the smaller areas on the side. So here's what we have so far. Let's go ahead and cure this. Next, I'm going in with a magnetic gel, and this is from the Rosy Hip Gemstone collection. I get so excited when I come up with an idea where I need to use these. It's not often because I typically like to stay with neutral tones, but for a time like this, we're going in with this magnetic-y red. I'm applying a thin coat of this, and then I'm going in with my magnet. Look, don't judge my magnet. Basically, 3 of them constantly get stuck together and I get too lazy to pull them apart, and it's kind of hard. So I'm just going to use this for now, but I did want to switch over to my cylinder magnet because I wanted the particles to be grouped together a little bit more. And then I like to hold this magnet right at the tip of the nail, and once I have everything looking the way I like, I'm going to flash cure. Before grabbing my magnet, I am cleaning up some of that area where I have overstated the French tip line because I was a little messy. I'm holding my magnet on the sides and then right at the top to get what I like. You really do have to flash cure in between each finger because you don't want to be working on the finger next to it and that magnet is pulling those particles on the finger you just completed, and you're just looking like, this is not the design I just left. So make sure you do that. Also, when working with magnetic gels, you want to make sure you don't add a lot of pressure on the brush when applying it because you don't want streaks. I also like to wait maybe about 5-ish seconds and let it self-level before I go in with my magnet. I feel like it does make a difference, so that's what I like to do. And do you see how beautiful this polish is? I love this collection a lot. It's too good. If you want to see another color, let me know in the comments and we can do that. Once you're done, you can leave it just like this, but what I'm going to do is cure this and go back in with that red that we used first because I want it to look like the magnetic particles are kind of like moving around, dancing underneath the color. You can skip this step if you want. It really comes down to personal preference, but you can kind of see the difference here where the pinky is just kind of chilling and then the other nails are darker. If you're messy, just like me, you're being impatient, that's okay because I did it too. We're gonna just go ahead and clean up those lines to make them look like we never did all of that. I was getting tired, it was getting late, so what I need to do is clean up that edge with my oval brush and some alcohol. All right, so I was like, do I really want to do a 3D design or do I just want to leave these French tips as they are? We're going to be creating a little 3D bow, but before I get started, I am actually going to be placing a little dot where I want the center of my bow to be, because if I'm being honest with y'all, I filmed this part of the video twice because I was not satisfied with my bow. I did some things that I messed up and I was like, you know what, we're doing this again. So I'm going to take a little bit of this, roll it into a ball, and then I'm going to put it on my desk and roll it into this little worm-like shape. Then I'm taking my spatula and cutting off a small piece, and this is going to be the right side of the bow. I'm going to lay this right at the center and then kind of loop it around so it looks like an oval. But I had more control with this with my Diami cone tool. Y'all know I love this thing. I use this to mold everything in place. At first I was like, let me just do the typical oval, and it was looking like Mickey Mouse ears to me, so I was like, no. You know what, I want them to look more like triangles. So I did push in the sides a little bit. And then push downwards at the top, so they no longer look like little Mickey Mouse ears. They looked like little triangles touching each other. Before I flash cure, I am going to take some alcohol and clean up around where I have my little bow tie, because I have dragged that clay around the nail so much that I didn't want it sticking everywhere. I decided to flash cure at this point to keep everything in place. I'm grabbing a little bit more of our 3D gel, rolling it back into my little worm, and I'm going to start off by making the little piece that comes from the bow tie, but we're going to do one at a time. I'm laying this on the nail, wrapping it around a little bit, going to make it look a little squiggly-ish. So I'm gently pushing in and out, and then I'm going to let it connect right in the center of our bow. Once I get to the edge of the nail, I am going to trim off the excess pieces. Here's what I got, and I was like, yeah, this is good enough, so I'm gonna flash cure. I wish I didn't flash cure though, because when I did the second little piece, felt like they weren't symmetrical and it was too late. I had to just deal. But I'm just repeating the exact same process once again, wrapping that little piece right around the nail and then pushing it in so it looks squiggly. I guess, you know what, I was too hard on myself, because at the end of the day, some of the pieces weren't symmetrical as I would want them to. I mean, y'all can tell it's a bow, right? Next, I am fully covering this bow with a no wipe gold gel here, because I'm going to go on top with chrome. But if you were to take the chrome and put it directly on top of that Yogo Milk Jam, I do notice the chrome looks more like a grainy finish, and because I wanted a shinier finish, I thought this would be the best thing to do. So after curing, I am going to go in with my gold chrome here and place it directly on top of that bow. I started off using this little pointed silicone tool to keep things nice and clean, but this was taking all day. So I switched over to my applicator sponge and things got more messy than I wanted them to. So I did have to clean up the excess, but after that, everything was looking okay. We are almost done, but we're not at the finish line yet. I am going to apply a glossy top gel on all of the nails. And once I'm done, I'm going to do a full cure. But hold on, wait a minute. I did feel like that bow needed a little bit of sparkle, so I'm taking the Ivy Fix Gel, putting a little bit right in the center of that bow, and placing a little shiny rhinestone. And now we're gonna do our final cure. And here are what the nails look like all done. I love me a good magnetic-y French tip. I'm obsessed with it. I want to do another color. I know we've already done green, so if you want to see another video just like this one, let me know which color you want to see in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, let me know by giving it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, make sure you do so on your way out. But in the meantime, I will see you in one of these videos here.